Chapter 24. Prick Her Finger. Dawn followed Philippa carrying the spinning wheel. They left Samson in Philippa's bedroom and shut the door. He was still acting all weird, and they didn't want him to make noise and alert Philippa's parents to what they were doing. "Sure he's okay?" Dawn asked, as Samson scratched at the door. He'd saved her life. Well, several times, just in the last few days. She kind of liked the giant fluff monster. "Don't worry, I'll feed him after we take care of you-know-what," Philippa said with a roll of her eyes. Dawn cocked her eyebrow as he scratched the door again. "Or he'll munch on your homework," Philippa joked. "Homework?" Philippa said with a frown. "What do you mean?" Remember how he ate your homework?" Dawn said. "I heard you tell Mr. Blankenship about it my first day at school." "Oh, right," Philippa laughed. "Ha, exactly. Guess I'm still sleepy." Dawn gave her a weird look, but shook it off. They left Samson and wound their way down the stairs, going around and around and around. Dawn started to feel dizzy from all the steps. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the main level of the house. Muffled voices echoed out of the kitchen, accompanied by the sharp smell of coffee brewing and the sizzle of bacon hitting a skillet. "Shh," Philippa said. "My parents are down there." They crept to the next flight of stairs, which sank down to the basement. The further they descended, the dizzier and more tired Dawn felt. Her eyes drooped, but then she snapped back awake. "Come on, hurry," Philippa said. The staircase wound around into the basement like a stone maze, circling into itself. The lower they went, the darker it got. No light leaked through from upstairs. They descended below ground. "Sorry, I don't feel so good," Dawn said, pausing to lean against the wall. The spinning wheel felt so heavy in her arms, she could barely keep her eyes open. "We're almost there," Philippa said. She tugged Dawn's arm, pulling her down the last few steps and into a claustrophobic hall that led to the cellar. Dawn's head swam, and white stars danced in her vision. I don't know what's wrong with me," Dawn stammered, not thinking clearly. "Listen, the cellar's just ahead," Philippa said. "Can't you make it? Just a little more?" Dawn tried to walk, but she stumbled as her eyes closed, and she almost dropped the wheel. "Oh no, be careful with that," Philippa said, reaching out to steady her friend. "And don't accidentally prick your finger. We don't want to unleash any more dark curses." I'm sorry," Dawn managed in a drowsy voice. Her eyes kept trying to close on her. "It's like I'm just so exhausted. All of a sudden." "Think of everything you've been through," Philippa said. "Yeah, you're right," Dawn said. She'd been up all night, battling zombies and dragons, and she hadn't slept once. The wheel felt even heavier in her arms. "Well, I'm super well rested," Philippa said with a snort laugh. "Want me to carry it?" Dawn felt relieved to have such a great friend. Doing everything alone was hard. "Thanks, you're the best," she said sleepily. Her lips felt thick and were hard to move. Dawn handed the wheel over to Philippa, who readily accepted it. Then Philippa led Dawn into the cellar, which was dark and had a thick door with a lock, just like she'd promised. Dawn was relieved. This was the perfect hiding place to keep the spinning wheels safe from Maleficent. Nobody would ever find it down here. That door was almost impenetrable. But then, she started to feel even more exhausted as soon as they set foot inside the cellar. She slumped down onto the floor. I don't know what's wrong with me. And that was when it happened. Philippa let out a cackle. It echoed through the dungeon. It was a different voice. Suddenly, green flames enveloped Philippa, swirling around her body as she transformed into Maleficent. The dark fairy cocked her head and peered at Dawn with her glowing yellow eyes. "Oh, come now. Why so melancholy?"